Hello and welcome to Potions. In our first lesson, we'll be baking banana chocolate chip bread.
Come dive into the recipe with us.
Our recipe calls for flour, baking soda, salt, sugar, vegetable oil, eggs, vanilla extract, bananas, and you want the ripe ones, and chocolate
Okay,
chips.
so our recipe also called for some tools. So they are the following: a fourth a teaspoon, so that's this guy, a half a teaspoon, 1 teaspoon, a half a cup, and a whole cup. It also calls for a 8x4 pan and a fork or a whisk if you have one. If you can't seem to find one of your measuring tools, we will show you how to replace one with the other.
Before we begin, we're going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Before we begin, we are going to wash our hands to make sure that we are remaining germ-free in the kitchen. And happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear me.
Can't get that.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Miss Carrasco. Happy birthday
To us. Why would we wash our hands to the happy birthday song twice? First ingredient is flour. We need 2 cups of flour, so that would be 2 of these 1 cups. However, if you don't have a 1 cup, 2 half cups is equal to 1 full cup. Let me show you. So 1 half cup, oops, sorry. And then I'm gonna pour this half cup into my 1 cup, and that is half of the 1 cup. So I need 1 more half cup to equal my full cup. So then the 2 half cups is equal to 1 full cup. Notice I was a little short on that last half cup, so that's probably why it's a little shorter in the full cup. But that'll be 1 cup. And then if you only had the half cup, 2 times 2 is 4, so you would need 4 half cups. I'm just gonna use 1 more full cup, because 1 full cup plus 2 half cups equals 2 cups. Okay. And voila, now we have our 2 cups of flour.
The ingredient our recipe calls for is baking soda. The recipe calls for 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. So I have my 1 teaspoon, this is 1 whole, and this is 1/2. Notice that's a mixed number. 1 whole teaspoon plus 1/2 teaspoon. Now, if I don't have my full teaspoon, my whole teaspoon, Ms. Carrasco mentioned earlier that I can use my half teaspoon. So if 2 half teaspoons equal 1 whole teaspoon, and I need 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, then I would need 2 half teaspoons to make my whole, plus a 1/3 half teaspoon for the half. So in total, I would need 3 half teaspoons to make 1.5 teaspoons. But since I do have both of my tools, I am just going to use 1 full teaspoon and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. So let me open up my box And I have 1 whole teaspoon. And 1/2.
Our next ingredient is salt. So I have my salt and it's a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So I'm gonna pour that over so I don't make a mess. I fill it up. I have my 1/4 teaspoon and
The next ingredient is sugar. It calls for 1 cup of sugar, but in case you can't find your cup and you do have a 1/4 cup, we're gonna show you how that works. This is 1/4 cup, okay? And if I have 1/4, I wanna know how many fourths equal 1. 4/4 should equal 1 cup, so let's go ahead and test that out. Just open up my sugar. Here's 1/4. Two fourths. Three fourths. I wish the stores were open so I could go buy more sugar. And 4/4. As you can see, 4/4 is equal to 1 whole, 1 cup. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in.
The next ingredient we need is vegetable oil. So we need a 1/2 cup of it. This is our 1/2 cup. We are going to make our 1/4 cup. In case you don't have a 1/2 cup, we're gonna turn our 1/4 cups into a 1/2 cup. So let's see how many we need. Let's do 1/4. So there's 1/4 cup of vegetable oil into our 1/2 cup. And it looks like I'll need 1 more to equal 1/2. So 2/4 cup was equal to 1/2 cup, which makes sense because in the last video you saw Miss Panganaban showed us that 4/4 equaled 1 cup. So half of the cup would be 2/4. So now I'm gonna pour that into my ingredients and voila.
It is eggs, and it calls for 2 whole eggs. We don't have any fractions for these, so this one will be nice and easy if you can crack an egg. So I'm just going to tap my egg on a hard surface to make sure it's cracked. Put my 2 thumbs in between and okay, pause it. Two eggs. If you accidentally get some shell in there, that's okay. Just make sure to get it out before you go.
Vanilla extract. So I'm gonna use this, and we need 1 teaspoon of it. So that's this one. And I'm gonna use this in the actual to put it in, but I want to explain to you guys really quick that if you only have a 1/2 teaspoon, you could use 2 halves because as we said earlier, 2 halves is equal to 1 whole teaspoon. Or if you don't have a 1/2, but you have a 1/4, 4 teaspoons, equals 1 whole teaspoon. So you could use 4 of the 4 teaspoons if that's all you have. Okay, but I'm just gonna use our 1 teaspoon that we have to pour in the vanilla extract. And again, I'm gonna do it over so that I don't make a huge mess. Now, have my 1 teaspoon. It calls for 3 bananas. Usually want them a little more ripe than this, but this is what we have, so this is what we're using. So I'm going to show you how to do one of them, and then just know that I did the same exact thing with the other 2. So you peel the banana, and as you're peeling, what I like to do is keep one of the edges connected and then scrape it in. Oops. So you're kind of crushing the banana as it's going in. And then if you don't crush the whole thing, oops, like that, then I'll show you how to fix that as we're in it. So you're kind of like slicing it in a way with the spoon so that it's going in a smoother fashion. Oops. So, as the following. And then I'm just gonna put the rest in there and smush it in there. So now what I would do is use the edge of the bowl to kind of squish it up more. And these aren't that right, but they're still squishing pretty well. So if your bananas are like this, it'll still work. And I use this side of the bowl to do these ones. And that'll be good, because then everything will mix. Okay, so now we're mixing all of our ingredients before we put in the chocolate chips. Some of the bananas are still there, so I'm gonna use the sides to squish them so that they're not whole anymore. They're more mushy than banana-y. Okay. So then once you get it to a good consistency, you can add in the chocolate chips, and that's our last step.
Our last ingredient is our chocolate chips. So the recipe calls for 1 cup of chocolate chips. Just a reminder, we've gone over this. If you only have ½ cup, 2 halves equals 1 whole. Or if you only have 1/4 cup, then 4/4 equal 1 whole. And if you really want to get fancy, you can do 1/2 and 2/4, because 1/2 and 2/4 are equivalent fractions. 2/4 equals 1/2. So if I did 1/2 and 2/4, that would be 1. But since I have 1 whole, I'm just going to use my whole. I'm going to pour my chocolate chips in there. And man down. I'm gonna put it in. Now that the chocolate chips are in, all of our ingredients are in, we're going to mix it all together. Make sure you get all the ingredients from the sides. And then you'll be ready to put it in the pans.
Next, we're gonna spray our pan. So you wanna do a light spray. If you don't have the spray for making it so it doesn't stick, then you can use butter as well around the pan. I do have the spray, so I'm gonna use it. Just a quick spray. And again, that's so that it does not stick. And then I'm going to pour in my first batch. So this makes 2 batches of bread. And do half of it into this one. And then that's about half. Then I'm going to save the other half for my next loaf. So then I'm going to put this into the oven. And you want to check it after about 35 minutes and see how it looks. So I'm going to set a timer for 35 minutes, and we shall wait.
And that's how you create banana chocolate chip bread.
We hope you try out the lesson at home and have as much fun as we did. Thank you.
Woohoo!